folks, I'm Craig Lipinski.
And I'm World Donkey Kong Champion Seth Castellum.
And you're listening to episode 17 of Ludowave Radio, the smooth sounds of video game talk. And it's just me and the champ this evening. There's no Chris, unfortunately.
Who?
Mr.
Who's
Chris.
This Chris?
Mr. Chris Dunn.
He's done.
He's done. Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. We've been having some scheduling logistical issues over the past month, and Chris wasn't able to record tonight. But Seth and I figured we were available to half-ass an episode to fill in the dead air. So here we are.
I really didn't want to have to pretend to be a human being tonight, but I was like, fuck, we haven't put out anything in a while. I don't want people to forget that we exist. So here I am.
We don't want to lose out on all those sponsor dollars.
Yes, those big bucks we're raking in, unbeknownst to our listeners.
You know what? I hate grocery shopping, Seth. That's why Blue Apron really comes in handy.
What is Blue Apron, Craig?
Well, Blue Apron delivers fresh ingredients right to your door.
But are they more competitive than Amazon Pantry?
I think it's actually it's you just go to the grocery store and buy your fucking groceries.
But sometimes with kids and family and obligations, I don't have time.
That's why you should get a box full of dry ice and green beans delivered to your door. When they advertise it's about $10 a meal, and I'm like, $10 that's actually expensive. That's not cheap.
I mean, if it's a meal for one person, that's expensive. It's how big of a meal are we talking?
It's a meal. Here? It's a meal. You're not gonna,
just for one person.
Yes,
just
yeah. You're not gonna have any leftovers unless you're unless you're rail thin and just don't eat anything. Dear me, I had a fingerling potato. I'm stuffed.
So me. No, I'm rail thin, but I eat a lot. That's my gimmick.
Yeah, no, it's basically a meal. It is a meal. You're not really going to have any leftovers.
Yeah, now $10 is a lot. I mean, it's maybe less than eating out at a sit-down restaurant, but that shit's expensive too.
Maybe slightly less. If you went somewhere mediocre, like Applebee's or Chili's, I mean, you'll be paying $10 or $12.
Yeah, but then with tip though, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, then you're okay. Yeah, that does make it go up.
Tip,
sure. That's true.
But if you're at home cooking for yourself, you should be able to make yourself fucking a good ass meal for $4
and have leftovers. I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's we don't have a ton of leftovers, but that's kind of that's the next day's lunch when you're at work. That's how that works. That's the economics of that. Blue Apron does just not. Anyway, we're trashing Blue Apron. That's great.
Fuck Blue Apron, man.
This is what happens when you don't have sponsors. Fuck off, Blue Apron.
This is the first time I've ever heard of Blue Apron, but you know what? Fuck them.
Fuck them. And all the copycats like HelloFresh.
That should be just our thing. Instead of sponsors, we just have brands that we trash.
Just take 30 seconds to trash on something. I like the idea. We'll workshop that.
All right.
So, last weekend, I threw out a ton of shit.
Just in the trash?
I trash, recycling, and donating. Have you heard of the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo?
Yeah, I know her. I fold my shirts like she does.
She goes over that in the book, man. So I read this book. So if you haven't heard of this book, you might have heard about some of the tenets in the book. And one of the ones that sort of made its way around even to people who haven't even heard of the book is, in order to pare down your possessions, you hold everything that you own in your hands, determine whether it gives you joy or not, and if it doesn't, get rid of it. And that's not the whole book.
And that's why Chris isn't here tonight. Yeah.
Shit. There's a whole methodology in the book. I mean, she goes into the order of things that you should get rid of. You start with clothes because clothes are, most people have more clothes than they actually need, and getting rid of clothes is pretty easy. It hones your decision-making skills and kind of warms you up to getting rid of stuff.
I own 2 pairs of pants.
Well, this does not apply to you then, I guess.
Okay.
But obviously several shirts because you need to fold them the Marie Kondo way.
True, but those are like the T-shirts, and I only wear those like on weekends and days off. So I have like more T-shirts than I need for sure.
That reminds me of that Simpsons episode with George Bush is in the drive-thru. A cheeseburger, that's more of a weekend thing, isn't it?
I wear button-downs to work, and by button-downs I mean 2 different button-downs. I had 3, but one of them like started fraying. So
you're very practical. I can appreciate this. Yeah, this is this book is obviously not targeted towards you.
I have undershirts though, so the button-downs stay fresh. The undershirts get changed out.
Of course. So I read this book, and I've been sort of like thinking about like, yeah, we got too much crap here. We got to get rid of this. I read this book, and I was like, that's it. We're doing it. And she says you should do it all in one day. So fuck that. I got way too much shit. I'm not doing it one day. Yeah, you got to do it all in one day because then you like maybe you just like lose your nerve doing it. I guess I don't know. So we didn't do it all in one day. We did it over the course of the weekend. But a lot of trash, a lot of recycling, a lot of donations. It's interesting because she doesn't really belabor this point. It's really only at the end of the book, and she just sort of touches on it once. But to me, it's like the whole core of the book. And it's even though the book spends all this time going over how to get rid of stuff, the whole point of the process is not about getting rid of stuff. It's about determining what you're going to keep. Because what you end up keeping is really who you are. And like my bookshelf is now like a perfect example of that. It's like a microcosm of the process. I probably donated more books than I kept. But my bookshelf, which has 5 rows on it, the top shelf is my favorite author. It's this whole bibliography, Haruki Murakami. Second shelf is all Japanese language, Japanese culture stuff. The next shelf is just miscellaneous, fiction that I enjoy. Next shelf down is video game stuff. Ian Bogus, Jay McGonigal, history of video games, 1001 video games you must play before you die, shit like that. And then the bottom shelf is graphic novels that I kept. And that's me. That's me in a nutshell. And it's kind of interesting.
Fucking nerd weeb.
Right? Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's nailed it. And it's kind of nice, like looking at the shelf and going, yeah, this is me. This is what I want to keep. So, it works, I think. A part of the book is kind of hokum, like hold each thing and see if it finds you, see if it brings you joy. And I'm just kind of like, there are some things that definitely bring me joy. Like it's undeniable. Like, yeah, I really like this thing. Like I threw away a ton of gashapon. Whenever I go to Japan, I always buy a bunch of gasha. I don't know why. It's like, oh, this is 100 yen. That's fine. Here's some plastic shit. But I kept one, and it's a little Taiko no Tatsujin mascot. And when you click on his face, it makes a little electronic bong, 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 bong sound.
That's the drum game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, I fucking have to keep this. Like that brought me joy. Like I knew that. But then there are other things like, yeah, I like this. I don't like. Do I hold my spatula and think like, oh, this spatula brings me joy? Like, there are things that have utility, and they're not about joy, really. I don't think. And that's actually what makes the process difficult, is like you have all these things, like even like your abundance of clothes, like it's like, why this is functional. Why should I get rid of something that's functional? But I guess if you're not wearing it, it's not really functioning, right? So I enjoyed the process. It felt good to pare down. It's not you can use it to become minimalist, but I don't think that's necessarily the point, and that's certainly not what we did. We still own our fair share of crap, but did you have because I feel like when getting rid of stuff, it's helpful to have another person there who like does not own the stuff, who could be like, yeah, that's stupid, just get rid of it, or be like, do you really need that? Just come on, just like another person's perspective. Megan is not very useful in that regard. No, she's like, do what you want to do. And I'm like, oh, man. But I had to be that person for her because she was pretty good. Like, she was a very good sport. I give her all the credit in the world. But, she had a lot of clothes. And, like, it's just, I would have to be like, are you sure you need that? Like, if you tell me yes right now, I will believe you, but I'm skeptical right now at this very moment. And, so I kind of had to be that person for her. But, she did get rid of a lot of stuff, so kudos to her. I did apply it to my video game collection on a very broad level. I didn't go game by game, but I got rid of Most of it, basically. And when I say
got rid of most of what?
Well,
most of your video games?
Actually, at this juncture between this and the previous times, like I purged, yes, that is, yeah. I'm at a sub 1,000 games at this point. It's probably maybe around 600 games or so. No, more than that, maybe 600 or 700 games.
And they're all for 3DS.
A lot of that. Well, yeah, between 3DS and DS, that's like 400 games right there.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy actually. I mean, a lot of it was like just like merchandise and stuff, and a lot of it was like really cool stuff from Japan. Just shit I've accumulated over the years. It's really cool, but it's just been sitting in plastic containers in my storage unit for years, and I'm never going to be at the point where I have a whole room for video games ever again. So like, what's the point? So I sold it all to my sister, all of it. I mean, just crates of this shit.
At a family rate?
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, this stuff is worth thousands. I mean, I'm talking like a boxed Turbo Express, my Atari Lynx stuff, a Wonder Swan, most of my Wonder Swan games. I mean, that's like the good stuff. There's a lot of like junk too. Like, here's an extra Samsung Nuon controller. There's no Nuon in here, but here's the controller if you really want it. But I mean, that's the other thing too, is like she can sell a lot of that too and probably make her money back. But this stuff is probably worth thousands, and yeah, I sold it to her for a fraction of that.
For the listeners, Craig was just trying to pawn off this stuff on me and Chris in the podcast emails that we send each other. He's like, "Hey, do you guys want my Lynx stuff?" And I'm like, "No, nobody wants your fucking Atari Lynx, Craig."
Did I ask about the Lynx?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I am Setsuna and
right, yeah. I don't know why I asked. I don't know why I specifically asked about the Lynx stuff. That's weird. But yeah, I did ask about I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere.
Lost Sphere, that's the one. Like repeatedly with those two, we're desperate to get rid of those ones.
Yeah, I don't really like them. I Lost Sphere came in when we were on hiatus, and neither one of those games are very good. I don't know. I don't know what Square.
I haven't touched them. So
you haven't. Well, yeah, no, you're not missing nothing. I don't know what Square Enix is trying to accomplish with those. Like, they're supposed to be like these callbacks, like sort of partially inspired by Chrono Trigger. But I don't think we're in a dire need of like retro styled JRPGs. So I don't know. And then like I Lost Sphere, what was that? Like $40, $50? Like, it wasn't like an impulse buy. Oh, yeah, $20, I'll get that.
No, it was that was a Square Enix store exclusive too. So you had to order it right from them, didn't you?
Yeah, back when I was misguidedly thinking I was going to collect for the Switch, and I'm glad I'm not doing that now.
So yeah, that was a planned purchase, Craig.
It was a plan, and then I forgot about it because you had to order it like months before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came in, I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do with this thing now? I guess I'll play it. Oh no, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people don't like those games, and then there's a few who really do like them, so I don't know.
More power to them, but I think they are dreadfully boring.
What do you think of Octopath Traveler, Craig?
We will get to that later in the show.
All right.
How have you been this past month?
Fucking terrible.
I feel like that's how you always answer, and I feel bad. Like, what? Why are you terrible now?
Well, I think I have legitimate reasons this time. So,
well, I'm not saying that your reasons are ever illegitimate.
No, they are sometimes. They're just like headspace stuff. They're not.
That's still legitimate. I feel like that's we call that clinical depression. That's a thing.
It's funny because it's true. I'm laughing to mask the pain. My sister and her husband were in Alaska for their anniversary or something, and so I had the dog. All by my onesie, and well, we have a roommate here too, but he doesn't care about the animals. Anyway, so the very second day I have the dog. I take her out to this place called Fiesta Island. And there's like
what is Fiesta Island?
It's a man-made island out in the bay that was built, I think, like in the 60s, 70s, destroyed a whole ecosystem out there. But it's just like a big giant dirt island, but over time, like a bunch of natural brush grew in the center of it. So there's a lot of like just plants and shrubs and rabbits. There's a shit ton of rabbits. And there's a bunch of like sand berms, like big walls of sand up all around it. So like the dogs could like run around inside there without worry of like going in the street. And there's just like one road that goes around, one-way road that goes around the island. It's like 25 miles per hour. So if they do get hit by a car, they probably won't die. And then there's a lot of beach all over. But anyways, back to the center area. I take the dog there because there's a ton of rabbits and squirrels and shit. And she could just run around like a maniac and chase them to her heart's content. So I was walking around with her there. She was chasing animals and trying to kill them. And I see like something on her side, and she like has not indicated that anything is amiss or anything. But I see something. I thought like maybe she just was missing some fur. So I even almost didn't call her over. But I called her over. I was like, come over here, let me see. And then I get down because it's kind of low. It's kind of low near her chest, near her front armpit. And then I go, oh, fuck, that's a bunch of blood. And she just had like this like thumb-sized hole that she had put in herself somehow. Like she ran through a branch and cut herself or something.
Did you put your thumb into the hole to gauge the size?
I did not. I put it right below the hole. And I was like even like opening it a little. I could like see her like meat inside of her. And I was like, this is gross. And she's like just looking around like nothing's even happening, pretending like she doesn't have a fucking hole in her side. And I'm like, all right, so I guess I'm going to have to take this dog to the hospital. But it's already like 7 at night, and so all the vets were closed, and I had to take her to an ER vet, which is expensive as shit. And so I take her there, and she has to get stitches, and they have to keep her for a few hours because they have like other animals that are like actually currently dying, and they can't operate her on her right away. And I'm just like a nervous wreck, like about how much it's going to cost, and just if she's going to be okay, and then taking care of her and all this other shit. So that was a terrible night. I didn't get home until like after 11. And the bill was like $450, and that was not cool. It wasn't a great night. And
that's a lot, but like that's less than I was thinking. Maybe because my last few vet excursions were like extraordinarily expensive, like thousands of dollars. So I'm like, $400, whatever.
Her primary vet that we use for like non-emergency stuff and just checkups and things is down in Tijuana. And he's a really good doctor. He studied up here in San Diego and just opened up his practice down there. But let's see. Like she, what'd she do? She like sprained her tendon or something. She had to get X-rays, a shot, medication, and like it all wrapped up and stuff. And that was like $80. So that's the kind of prices. Yeah, that's the kind of prices we're used to when we take her down to Mexico. So, anyways, this was expensive. And then, so the very next night after that, I'm like, it's like right before bed, and I just take her out. She's on pain pills that make her all like kind of woozy and dizzy and stuff. So I take her out front to sit in the front yard and just sort of like chill out and get some air before I go to sleep. And then she like runs down the sidewalk just to the next house over. I'm like, Piper, get the fuck back over here. And then she like immediately starts running back over. I was like, oh, all right, good girl. Good. And then as soon as she gets near me, just the smell hits me, and it's just skunk smell. And she got blasted by a skunk right in her face and then on her chest, too. It got her like twice, and it was just the most horrible thing. And then so I'm like trying to look up things on my phone, how to get rid of skunk. She's wearing a T-shirt. She's wearing one of my shirts because of her stitches. I don't want her scratching at her stitches. And so the shirt's all skunked, and then there's just skunk smell everywhere. And then once again, I'm up all night, like scrubbing down like the house areas where because the smell's just everywhere. I was like scrubbing walls and Febrezing carpets and just all sorts of shit. And you can't get it out. You can't get the smell out completely. Like you just got to wait for it to fade away once you do your best to get what you can.
I've never experienced like concentrated skunk smell because like when you smell a skunk outside, I'm like, yeah, this isn't great, but I'm not. It actually doesn't bother me.
I actually like skunk smell from far away. This is my first experience dealing with it up close, and when it's right at you, it's like smells like onions, piss, and skunk all like mixed together, just like super high concentrated.
Well, at least two of those things don't really bother me, but the piss, that's the kicker, I guess. That's what gets you is the piss.
It is so bad up close. It is so bad up close. And it just, like, everything it touches, it just, like, starts spreading everywhere. It's like a virus that just spreads. Because it's like an oil. It's like an oil and it just touches everything. And then you touch it and then touch something else. And it just does not go away. So I was just up all night cleaning skunk. And I did not get good sleep 2 nights in a row. And that's why I couldn't record last Friday. And actually, my sister and her husband got back this Wednesday. They got back the 4th of July. And then yesterday, Craig... exactly 1 week. She got sprayed by a skunk again last night.
Incredible.
Yes. So she is just an idiot who does not learn her lesson.
My sister, well, my future sister-in-law's dog got a face full of porcupine once. Mm-hmm. That's I don't know which is worse.
I'm going to say skunk. The porcupine, you could see the fucking quills and just pull them out of the face, right?
No, a vet has to do that. I think they're barbed.
Oh, God. Well,
I think they're barbed for, like, maximum, like, fuck you up. Like, that's evolution right there.
The skunk smells, like, linger for, like, 2 months, like, on the face. Like, anywhere where it soaks into the skin of the animal, which is usually the face because the fur's shorter there, it's going to be there for, like, 2 months. So she's just going to be skunk face for a while.
Gross.
Yep. And then I feel like something else happened, but I just got really into complaining about things, so...
I think you mostly centered on your dog.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she was a fucking handful. It was a bad week. It was a bad week of dog watching.
Sorry, dude.
That's fine. I feel like I deserve it. I should probably talk to a therapist about that.
Are you seeing a therapist?
No, I'm not. I'm currently seeing a therapist. Ever since my last dude ditched me during summer break, I've not found a new therapist.
It's actually hard. It's actually you know how many offices I called before I got mine? 5. You know how many called me back? None of them. My therapist is an intern. Like, she's good, but she's not like someone who has like years of experience who like called me back because I called them.
All right.
Therapy sucks.
The good therapists are expensive and they don't need you, man. They got plenty of clients.
That's true too.
You just got to find yourself low rank one. Help them level up.
I guess that's what I'm doing. All right. Well, 23 minutes into this podcast, and we briefly talked about throwing away video games. We didn't talk about playing them. So I've been playing Overwatch, of course. I'm excited for the new character, which is a hamster in a ball.
What?
Yes. His name is Hammond. He's a hamster named Hammond.
I'm looking this up.
And
if this is stupid looking, I'm going to be mad at you.
He's called Wrecking Ball. And I'm excited to play as him. He looks like he's a very mobile tank, and I'm into that.
What kind of weapons does the hamster and the ball have?
Well, he has like Gatling guns, like machine guns on the because the ball transforms into a mech, and he can.
It's literally like a goddamn tank, man.
Yes, and so he can roll around. But then he can also like pop out these little legs and walk around and like shoot things with these machine guns, and he can swing around. There's like a cable he can like latch onto things and swing around, and then kind of come down and do like this area of effect stun smash, and then his ultimate is proximity mines, which sort of like this area denial, which is pretty cool.
Let me just say that I typed in Hammond Overwatch into Google image search, and one of the first images that came up is like a sexy Hammond in a like skin tight bodysuit with cleavage and stuff. You know how many Overwatch characters I've seen fucking? Like a lot. Well, that's what happens when you go looking for it, Craig.
No, as you just clearly demonstrated, if you're not looking for it, they still pop up.
All right, well, Sexy Hammond is the thing already.
So, this does not surprise me. But I'm looking forward to Hammond, and they just introduced this endorsement system where previously at the end of a match you could upvote someone. Like 4 people were selected, up to 4 people, because sometimes if everyone played really poorly, there might be less than 4. But 4 people were selected based on varying criteria to be, voted, as a cool person in that match. But now they have an endorsement system where at the end of the match you can now endorse people for sportsmanship, leadership, or just good teammate. And there's like restrictions on how often you can endorse people. But I kind of like it. It makes it a little more positive, I guess.
What do you get as a person who's endorsed?
Well, you have it's attached to your name, so people can see what level you're at in terms of endorsement because it ranks up, and people can see that. So if you're not someone who gets endorsed, they can see that. And I think they just introduced like a looking for group system. So they can weed out people like, oh man, if you don't have like level 2, 3, like if you're not high enough level, you're not gonna show up in that looking for group. So, I read somewhere like it makes everyone in the game fake nice, but I don't know. Like I'd rather have fake nice than real mean. Like that's what I'd rather have.
That's exactly it. Just like before Trump became president, I'd rather have people pretending like they're not racist than being openly racist.
It's slightly better.
It is. It's like go back to fucking pretending. Go back to pretending like you don't hate minorities. That was better.
And when I'm playing Overwatch, I'm playing fake Overwatch on the Switch called Paladins.
Right.
Did I talk about this last episode? I don't think it was out.
Yeah, you talked about a little. You played it.
I did. Okay. Yeah, that's just fake Overwatch. I like it though. I also been playing Fortnite on Switch a little bit here and there. It's a little more agreeable to me, like just my play style, that I can play it on a handheld because it's not a game where it really demands a lot of your attention, and it's not a game. I mean, I guess you can play it for hours, but you don't have to. So just kind of popping in and out here and there is kind of nice.
Now, I haven't played Fortnite, but I've watched my 16-year-old nephew play it a good deal. And like, I don't know how this dude's like. He's like building entire like multi-faceted floored ramps, buildings, like in like as he's like building them, he's climbing them. He's like so fast. I'm like, what kind of? I'm not a teenager. I can't play this game. I can't build.
Well, it kind of comes with muscle memory because some of the stuff is like sort of like prefab, and it just snaps together. Like one of the first things I learned because I watched someone else on my team do it was jumping off the side of a cliff and then building platforms as you fall, and they'll catch you. And that same thing when you're sort of like building buildings upward. As you build them upward, like the ramps and stuff will catch you. It's pretty good about that. The game. It is hard to do. Like I'm not very good at it. I can't do it. Probably nowhere near what your 16-year-old nephew can. But it just comes with muscle memory and snapping that shit together.
All right. How good are you at this game, Craig?
I've never gotten a victory royale. So
around what place do you usually come in at? Like average?
On average, I would say somewhere in the 20s or 30s on average.
That's not that high, Craig.
Out of 100, I don't know. I think that's okay.
All right.
But I mean, I've gotten in the top of top 3 before, top 10. I mean, you asked me my average.
Yeah.
So I would say 20s or 30s. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I'd like enjoy a competitive game if I was like coming in 20s and 30s on average.
Well, I don't really treat it as competitive. I'm not. I play it as sort of like this side thing. It's not like Overwatch or like Destiny or whatever for me. It's just this thing that I pop in and I drop it on this island and I shoot some dudes. They shoot me. Maybe I'll do that a couple of times, and then that's it. It's not. I can understand why it's so popular because it's free. Like it feels like a full, complete experience for free. Mm-hmm. So I understand why it's popular. I also like the way it's monetized with this battle pass thing, where as you're playing in a season, which I think is like 2 months, you level up, and if you don't pay, every like 5 levels or so, you get a doodad. But if you pay $10 for the season, you get the battle pass, and every level you get stuff, and it's like cosmetic stuff. And if you complete the battle pass, you'll earn enough in-game currency to buy the next season's battle pass. So if you play it a shit ton, and I mean a shit ton, you really only have to buy the first one. But that's an interesting way to monetize the game, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, it's a free game.
And you can clearly see the path. Like you can see the battle pass, what is awarded at each level before you buy the battle pass. And if you buy the battle pass mid-season or at the end of the season, it gives you all the stuff that you earned up until that point. So you can play and then get to the end of the season and go, yeah, I earned enough level. I want that stuff, and then just buy it and you'll unlock everything.
So the things that you get at the levels aren't random. It's like predetermined.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. Like so you can clearly see that path of progression. And that's why I think that's pretty good. There's some paid games that started doing, like PUBG started doing it. And that's like a $30 game, and apparently people were not happy about that. Mm-hmm. But I think it's an interesting way to monetize the game. It gives you a clear set of goals, clear things to work towards, and then if you decide to pay later, you still get the stuff. So I think it's pretty fair. And it's all cosmetic. All of it's cosmetic.
I like that it's not random shit. That you go like, I sure hope I get this.
Right, and I mean, they do also sell some of the cosmetic stuff separately, and it rotates in and out of the store. It's expensive; it costs several dollars for like a backpack, but you know what you're getting. You contrast that with Paladins is bananas, man. Like their loot chests are like some of them are like $3. And you get one thing. It's not like Overwatch for like
what?
You get one random thing. It could be like a voice line for like a character that you don't even play as.
That's weak.
Yeah, no, Paladins is really fucked up in terms of its monetization. They have a battle pass too, and I think that's probably if you're gonna buy stuff, that's probably the best way. But you got the battle pass, and then you got the random stuff, and I don't. It's very expensive.
Paladins, you like pay for the heroes you want to play as, right?
I'm not really sure how that works because I pay for the Founders Pack.
Okay.
Which is the only way I think as of right now you can play it on Switch. So you pay $30 and you get all the characters. You don't really get anything else other than that.
Yeah, I think in the free version on computer, you like pay you got to pay for whatever dudes you want to use.
Yeah, my understanding is with the free version, everyone has access to a pool of 8 static characters, and then like a couple of other characters are rotated in and out on a periodic basis.
Mm-hmm. All these crazy free-to-play games.
Honestly, I feel like the Switch is like a really decent... I don't want it to become overrun with these things, but it's a pretty decent home for that. Like, I'm not going to fire up my $400 PS2... PS4, it's PS2. Where my brain went there. I'm not going to fire up my PS4, to play these free-to-play games. That's just weird to me. Like, that's just like an underutilization of that. Take over my 60-inch TV... to play fucking Fortnite. I don't know. People do that. Millions of people do that. That just seems weird to me. That's not what I'm going to do. But, fucking off a little bit while I got Netflix going, that's fine.
All right.
I've also been playing a little bit of Ys 8. Have you played any of that?
No, I stopped at 6. 6 was the last Ys game I played.
Okay, so you didn't play 7 or Celceta?
Correct.
Okay. Do you own Ys 8?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course
yes. Of course I do.
It's all right. So far, I feel like it's a little bit better than Celceta, which I thought was an all right game too. I don't know. The Ys games just sort of feel like they're in this rut, and I'm not sure who localized this, but they didn't do a great job. I think it was Nissa. Was it Nissa?
Yeah, it's Nissa. Yeah, Nippon Ichi Software America. They've got dumped on for it, man. Like, because usually Xseed has been handling the Ys franchise. I think all of them up till this point,
right?
And they've been doing a great job. But yeah, Nippon Ichi on there has been shitting it up, and they like. So they worked on this translation patch because they were like re-recording lines, redoing the translation, and I think that stuff came out for the PS4 version already, and it's gonna like come out on the Switch version, or maybe it already did, but like soon after release. But like they couldn't just wait another few weeks to have it ready before printing their carts, their Switch carts.
Then they would have come up against Octopath Traveler, and I'm not sure if that was advantageous. That would be advantageous for them.
Maybe, all right. Well, then people could just start the game with the shitty translation, I guess.
Really, it's like the voice acting, which is...
the voice acting's bad, too.
Yeah, that's bad, too. But, I mean, it's all right. It's a decent action-adventure. It's so frustrating because I like JRPGs.
Uh-huh.
And at this point in my life, a lot of them are sort of mindless because they go through the same rhythms. And sometimes that's fine. Like, it's a comfort food. It's fine for me. I'm not complaining about that. What I fucking hate is all the fucking dialogue and cutscenes that are like nonsense. Like, I'm not talking about story. The stories suck, but I understand progressing the story. But like when they sort of like blab at you about nothing for like 7 minutes, I just... Why? What made you think I wanted to watch that?
This sounds like that's like my main problem with Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah,
not Tales of Symphonia. There's the Tales games.
I haven't played Tales of Symphonia since it came out, so I don't. I mean, I remember loving it when I played it then, but I just maybe my patience just completely eroded. I just don't have the time for like the idiotic. Like, if it's not developing the character and it's not progressing the plot, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, that's just RPGs though. They like want to get those. And they're like take the like worst anime tropes and then somehow do them even worse than anime, and then they stick them in the game, and then it's just it's terrible. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I mean, a lot of JRPGs do it. Some are slightly more elegant than others. Maybe because the writing's better, or other aspects of the game have made me more invested. So I'm like, yeah, this sucks, but okay. But, like, you know, you're being held together by scotch tape and paper clips. Like, you don't have the latitude to waste my time like this, you know? How does that game has, like, a party system? Like, you're not just Adol running around, right?
Yeah. And you don't even have Dogi.
No Dogi?
He's in the game, but he's just hanging out at, like, base camp. Hey, Adol! Whipped you up some hamburgers.
Is that what his voice acting sounds like?
No.
Aw. Yeah, because
the voice acting would be fucking ace if that's what Dogi sounded like.
All the East games I've played have all just been the ones that's just like Adol running around, just hacking shit up like all badass, and you just pretty much run around and slice things up. I think
I don't remember 7. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure 7 and Celceta, that's not the case. That's not just
I'm pretty sure those are the ones that started adding the party members.
And so like they have, you know, different characters have different strengths against different kinds of enemies. So you press a button and it toggles to that character. But what's like really weird is that it doesn't transition like a battle screen or anything like that. You just fight the enemies right there on the map. And you can see your party members fighting other things. And, you know, the AI is controlling them. But when you tap the button to switch to someone, they just sort of instantly swap bodies with Adol instead of like instead of shifting the camera to where they are. So it's kind of jarring. Like even several hours in, it's still it's something I have to remember. Like, oh yeah, you're just beaming me over. I don't know. It's weird. It's an all right game. But it just doesn't feel as... It feels... I don't know. It's wearing thin, which is a shame. I played the Shining Resonance Refrain demo on the Nintendo Switch eShop.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a demo.
This game fucking sucks. This game is Bad News Bears. I was playing. I knew it was like a re-release of like an older JRPG.
Yeah, it was a PS3 only.
In Japan.
Japanese.
Right,
only,
so I'm playing it, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this thing is 10. Maybe, I'm not going to buy it now, but I can understand. This game's like 10 years old. I can understand why it's doing this. No, sir, that game is 4 years old. This game is 4 years old, and it plays like a clunker.
Is there like any Shining games after like the Shining Force series that were actually any good? Because like Sega's released a bunch, and I never hear anything good about them. Yet they still keep releasing them.
Yeah, I don't know. The only other one that I played recently was actually like an arcade game in Japan, which I liked. You bought a card, and all your progress was saved on this plastic card that you put in the machine, and it was just like this hack and slash game. It had like touchscreen elements, so if you wanted to pick up treasure, you can tap the screen and stuff. I thought that was fun, but that's not something I had to pay more than a few bucks for. I could walk away from it, And finally, I played the Octopath Traveler demo, the most recent one, because we had one before.
Right.
This one lets you play as any of the 8 characters, and you get to play as all of them. You get to choose all of them.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah, I know you can pick from at least several of them. I went with the Huntress, and you get 3 hours, and your progress carries over to the final game. I don't really know how I feel about it yet, because I walked away from like the first demo. I'm like, and this demo, like, I'm still like, but like slightly more positive.
Okay.
I just. I like it, I think, but I feel like anything that it's trying to do, Bravely Default already did, and did it better. And that's all of like this idea that it's it's a modern JRPG with these retro sensibilities. I feel like Bravely Default did that better. Like, what's so retro about this game? The fact that it has sprites? Yeah, it also has a fuck ton of bloom. I can't see anything. That's not retro. I can't see a goddamn thing in this game. They're
trying to pretty it up. It's what you remember the video game
right, with Vaseline over the lens. What the hell? It looks fine, but I just think Bravely Default's like modern, like 3D character models and environments with like chibi characters and simplistic backgrounds and stuff. I think that was a better fusion of retro and modern. I like what they're going with these 8 different characters with these different professions. That's kind of cool. I guess it's a toss-up of what you think does it better. I like that idea, but I think Bravely Default's like job system where you can crisscross jobs and learn like fusions of jobs is more interesting to me than like this one's a dancer and that's it. She's just a dancer. It's interesting, but I guess it's just for Bravely Defaults. And then the battle system in Bravely Default is just way better. It's they both have like this kind of like risk reward kind of thing and like building up attacks. But it's almost mandatory in Octopath. Like you have to play that. I forget what the system's called, where you have to expose weaknesses and build up these charges to unleash attacks. You basically have to do that for every, preschooler battle you come across. And that gets tedious after a while. In Bravely Default, when you came across bullshit enemies, you could just brave over and over again. Get 16 attacks in, wipe the floor with them, and then that's it. But in tougher battles, you really had to juggle that system, the braving and the defaulting. And I think that, to me, is just a far better implementation of the risk-reward than what I've seen in Octopath.
Maybe the battle system opens up more later in
the
game?
It probably does. It probably does. I guess I don't know. If this came out before Bravely Default, I'd be like, yeah, this is. I would still hate that fucking bloom. But I would be all over it. It's just like, to me, it feels like the lesser experience when trying to go for the same thing or similar things, I should say.
Right.
And so, like, it doesn't come across to me as a bad game. It just doesn't feel as compelling because of that.
I didn't want to play the demo because I just wanted to like go in fresh when the game comes out. But now you're making me second guess it, Craig.
Well, I mean, your progress carries over, so it's almost like starting the game early.
I just didn't want to know what character to start with. I didn't want to make that choice yet. I want to like let that marinate inside of me.
I understand. Okay. I mean, I pre-ordered it. I traded in a shit ton of games, so whatever. It didn't really cost me anything, and I think I'll like it. It's just sort of disappointing because I just don't. I mean, Bravely Default and Bravely Second to me are. I would point to those as, I don't know if they're like the best modern JRPGs. I'd have to think about that one, but they're certainly up there. And this just feels like it's going for a very similar thing and not doing it as well, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I think it'll come out and everybody will love it.
I think so too. I think people will like it, and I'll be glad for that. But where the fuck were you when Bravely Default came out?
Where was I specifically?
No.
I was at home in bed, Craig. Yeah.
Playing Bravely Default?
No, I didn't play Bravely.
You didn't play that? Oh, really?
No.
So what drew you to Octopath versus Bravely Default?
It's on the Switch. The water was pretty. I don't know.
Did you just not play 3DS a lot in its heyday?
No, I played it a decent amount, I think.
I thought you did, yeah.
I just probably wasn't in an RPG mood.
Gotcha.
Because that, sometimes you just don't want to deal with the bullshit of an RPG.
Of them blabbing at you over and over again? Yeah, no, I got
exactly.
you. Nope, I hear you.
I started, like, Xenoblade Chronicles, and I was, like, dreading starting it, because I was like, it's going to be fucking boring RPG beginnings, because that's another thing RPGs always do. They always have like boring ass beginnings. I'll be like, I'm going to be bored.
Oh yeah,
for
the
10
humble
hours
farm boy before he
happens.
goes on his adventure or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you done talking about?
Yeah. No, we can transition into
all right,
Xenoblade.
Let's transition. This is perfect then. No, and that's sort of how I was with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 because I was playing. I played that like back when it came out on the Wii. And I played that game for at least 10 hours, and I swear to God, fucking nothing happened at all.
Nothing happened. You just ran over these wide open fields.
Yeah, I collected little shiny things and maybe found some people to do side quests for, and then there was like a military base, and everybody was just cool, and they're like just talking, and I was gated off from an area, then I made it to the next area finally, and I was like, all right, that was boring.
Did you play Xenoblade Chronicles X?
I did not play X. I skipped X.
That was even more obtuse, if that's even
Was
possible.
it?
Yeah.
All right, so then I started 2, and like within an hour or two, like I'm doing battles on a ship that's on fire with another ship coming in shooting cannons, and there's like a dragon flying through, and I was like, oh, this is badass. Stuff is actually happening like really early on. So already I like was liking it right off the bat. It's like horrible, stupid, ridiculous anime stuff going on.
Oh my God, this game is so fucking anime.
It's you got like what's Pyra? I can't describe her breasts other than tits because she's just got these giant anime tits on this little tiny slender frame, and I have no idea why. Like when I first saw pictures of this character, I thought she was going to be like a ditzy character or like a sexy character or whatever, but she's just like a normal,
she's just a
chill person. She's like the reasonable one.
As far as being written, she's just a well-rounded character.
She's just like, oh yeah, what's going on, dudes? And then like
just Boobs McGee.
Exactly, and it's ridiculous. I don't understand why that is a thing. Like, I'm not even one to complain about boobs in games when, like, I feel like there's a place for them. Like, Senran Kagura games are obviously centered around that as a choice, but there's just no reason for it here.
I have a Blade who just got her butt hanging out. I don't. It's just boobs and butts. The game.
I think she's the only sexy blade I have, and that's like they're like literally objects too, which doesn't always feel great.
I didn't even think about that part, but yes, they're literally objects.
So yeah, this game you got like blades, but the blades are like living beings, and they just power up your character, who's the driver, and he has a physical blade, which is I don't know if it's like part of the being blade as well. I don't even.
I don't understand. I don't understand the metaphysics of it.
No, me neither. But I'm enjoying the game. It's pretty. It's really pretty. The environments are pretty. The towns are pretty. Everything's pretty. I've taken like so many like screenshots while playing, and the battle system took me a while to get. Like literally, I tweeted about it, but at the 20-hour mark, I was still getting tutorials for the battle system in this game. Mark. There's a boss that you fight. I think it's finally the last battle system. It's like, oh, by the way, this gauge up in the top left-hand corner that fills up that you can use to revive down enemies. If there's all 3 bars are filled up, you could do like a super-duper move. And then you could perform breaks on... Oh, my God. This is it's like a easy yet complicated battle system. So, like, there's auto attacks, and then the auto attacks fill up, like, special attacks, driver attacks, I think they're called. Driver arts. And then, so once the auto attacks fill up the driver art, you could do driver arts, and the driver arts can do different things. Like, if you're, like, behind an enemy, it'll do more damage. But then they can also do things like knock them over, and then once an enemy's knocked over, you could hit them up in the air, and then once you hit them up in the air, you could, like, slam them back down. So it's like this whole system that you could do with the driver arts as well, and you could chain those together once you like level up your character. Man, there's so many systems in this game, but they're introduced really gradually. It's actually probably one of the best Monolith Soft games that I've played as far as tutorials go, because they don't just like feed them to you all at once. The fact that they're actually doled out gradually works in the game's favor, actually, because I've played stuff like Xenosaga, and that just had like an overwhelming battle tutorial the very first time you play, to the point where I was like, I don't understand any of what's going on. And God, what's their like Namco Cross Capcom on PS2 just has like this long file system of movies and shit it makes you read. And same thing with Somabringer. It's just like all in the beginning, it's just like Somabringer over explains like really easy to understand shit.
Yeah, that's very talkative, but I also don't think the battle system was terribly complex in that game either, though.
Yeah, no, Summerbringers was not complex at all, but then it's just that's why I feel like it's over. I mean, Summerbringers is basically Phantasy Star Online, and Phantasy Star Online doesn't even have an explanation for the battle system. You just play that and figure that shit out. Monolith Soft and their battle system tutorials is just like a pet peeve of mine, I think.
To be fair, that's the only wrinkle in Somabringer. That game is fucking awesome.
It's a good game. No, yeah, it's a really good game.
But I'm going to blow your mind. I have not played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in a while, but I actually enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, you were enjoying it, Craig?
I did, yeah, because I did not like the last 2 Xenoblade games, I'll tell you that. Oh, man.
How far did you get into the game?
I don't it's been that long where I don't remember.
Like, what's the last significant thing you remember happening in it?
I think I got eaten by something.
Okay, yeah. You get eaten by one of the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think I might still be in there, but I don't remember.
Immediately after that, you meet a mercenary group.
Right, and I'm with them. I am with the mercenary group, so I must still be in there because it's a very big area, right? Like it's a big.
Yeah, it's one of the major like countries, I guess.
Yeah. I think I made it to like a glowy kind of forest in there. Is there like a?
There's glowy forests at night. At nighttime, the forests in that area glow.
Okay, yeah. So I'm there. I did. Okay. I spent a lot of time doing side quests. I want to say this. I probably spent about 15 hours or so. Yeah,
that's right around that mark, I would say.
Yeah, and something else came out and got me distracted, but I enjoyed it. It's very weeby. A lot more. I like the art style more than the other 2 games, especially Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was ugly as sin.
That game had the ugliest goddamn character models.
They were bad. I like the anime look, but not the anime tropes. There's a lot of those. And it's still very systems heavy and it's very clumsy in that regard. It's just so much happening that no matter how it's tutorialized, I think it's still difficult for the player to take all that on.
I'm good at the battle system now, but
it's not just the battle system; it's all of it. It's like going diving, and now you got to play this mini game to level up. What is his name? Popo or whatever that blade is?
Poppy.
So I mean, there's just a lot happening and a lot to keep. I don't remember the damn dude's name. There's just a lot happening in there, and
there's a million systems, and there's also, I don't know if probably haven't unlocked it yet, but there's another system that finally opens up, and it's like a main pause menu thing. It's just question marks until you get it 25 hours in. And it's like this whole thing where you could send your extra blades that you have out on mercenary missions, and then they can complete missions and come back and bring you money, and you can level up this whole mercenary group and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun. I actually kind of want to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of junk blades. One of the biggest complaints I have about the game, though, is a lot of junk blades, though.
That's what the fucking mercenary missions are for, pretty much, because the more you level up your mercenary group, you could send out multiple of your blades on so you could send out 2 teams and then 3 teams, and each team's consists of 6 blades. So all those junk blades that you get, you pretty much just start sending them out on the mercenary missions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's just pretty much automated. They'll have the blades have certain skills, and you'll want to match up the skills with the missions, and then they'll go through faster and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of fun. It's like a little a management sim basically thrown in there.
I mean,
there's not enough stuff to do already in the game.
I mean, I guess I like the idea that blades are sort of this gotcha system, but at the same time, I just wish that there were fewer and there were more like the legendary blades where they have more personality. Because I mean, my understanding is Cosmos is in this game, but you could play the game for hours and hours and hours, and never even see her because you have less than 1% chance of pulling Cosmos. That's insane to me.
She was my 3rd rare blade that I got.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, no, Cosmos came out right away for me. I was like, sweet. I didn't know she was in the game, and then I started reading online. I was like, oh, she's rare.
Yeah. And so that's it's I got all these shitty garbage blades, but the good stuff it's really that rare. Why'd you put all this filler in here?
Even some of the rare blades I hate, man. I got this like little bird girl thing. It's just terrible.
I know. Like, what's the? I don't know.
And then, God, there's like field items, field things. They're like chests or wind or whatever, and you got to like have certain blades with certain skills in order to interact with them. And if you don't have those blades equipped, like you got to like start going through the menus and like equipping the right blades who has these skills that match up with the field action. That's what it's called. And then that's just annoying too. Like, it should just dive into your blades. You should just check all the blades that you own, man. You shouldn't have to have them on you.
Well, it's just one of those things that makes the game even more complicated.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, there are just I can't remember I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's like different things you can like level up and equip to the blades, and it's just digging through a bunch of menus and having to go.
So many menus, man.
It's
so many.
I mean, I did enjoy the game, I swear, but there are just a number of pain in the ass aspects about it that just didn't need to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no. Pacing, I think, helps the game a lot, because if you want to move the story along, you can move it along very quickly, and if you want to do side missions and stuff, you could just chill around and do side missions too. So I think just the fact that it has a really good pace for a JRPG helps keep my interest.
Yeah, it does have a pretty decent pace, yeah.
But no, I like that. What else I play? I played Firewatch. I was worried at first because I knew absolutely nothing about this game going into it. I bought it off Limited Run Games a while ago, and I was like, I should just like knock this game out real fast. I looked it up. It takes like 5-6 hours to beat or something. And I was worried at first because it was just like a whole bunch of text on the screen with like a few choices to make here and there, and then like you walking through a forest for like a minute and then back to like text and more choices. Like, oh man, is this the game? But no, after you do all that, I guess just sets up exposition for why you're even out in the woods and stuff. And then it got like a whole little open world part part of a national forest for you to go and explore and do missions in and stuff. And it's pretty fun. It's like a really small, intimate story that's not like big or life-changing or anything, but it's just like really interesting and engaging. And I enjoyed it a lot.
I've been wanting to play this, but they announced it for Switch some time ago. But then I'm pretty sure the studio got bought by Valve.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't know if that affected those plans or not, but I've just been holding out for the Switch version at this point.
I mean, Valve's released console stuff. I don't see why it should.
Yeah, like 10 years ago. They don't do anything anymore.
Portal 2 came out at some point. Yeah, that's a good question. But it's a good small game, and it has like it's basically two characters. There's your own character, and then another Firewatch who's off in another tower who is like teaching you the ropes, and just different stuff happens while you're out there playing. And the voice acting is really good. The story's really well told, and the area is like really nice. The level design, which I guess what it is, the level design's like really, really good. Like just after walking through an area like once or two times, you'd be like, oh, all right, so this is how this lines up here. I know this trail will take me back around here. It's really cool, and it's peaceful. It's like walking out in the woods for a lot of the time. Of course, then shit starts catching on fire, and maybe some people die, and there might be like paranoia about people spying on you. So it gets interesting, and it's good. It's a good game. Recommend it if it's cheap. What else I play? I played Double Dragon 4 on PS4. I think this was another limited run games. Yeah, it was. So I played that with my 16-year-old nephew who's over here visiting. And that game is buggy, man. Like,
who developed it?
I have no idea. It looks like the old arcade games. It's like done in retro style, like the old Double Dragon arcade games. But there's like screen tearing. And there's screen tearing in this retro arcade beat 'em up, and like there's the items that you could pick up, like baseball bats and chains and stuff. Like when you pick them up, like the sprite for the object will like glitch out like way to the other side of the screen before like appearing back in your hands and stuff. And I don't know, man. I'm just not into this game. We made it maybe like not even halfway. Well, he kept fucking falling off things and losing all our lives, and we ran out of continues. And I was like, I can't play this game. He's too young. He's too young to know how to play old arcade beat 'em ups. But I don't know. I was not enjoying that much. We played some Guacamelee Super Turbo Edition. And that game's super fun.
This is your first time playing Guacamelee?
Yeah.
I like that game a lot.
It is so like fast and fluid, and it just like feels good to control. And just like comboing enemies and slamming them into each other, everything just feels super good. We didn't play super far. We like played through into some Aztec temple and then beat like the first major boss, I guess. But it was good. It feels good and it looks good and I like it. And what else, Craig? What else have I played?
I don't know, Seth.
I played Donkey Kong. I played some Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, yeah. Please tell us about you conquered Billy Mitchell. Is that what I heard?
No, well, not even close. I think the world record holders can get over 1 million points, and I'm like in the 100,000s. But as far as like the Switch rankings go, because there's 3 different ROMs on the in the Switch release, and only like 2 of them are viable for high score mode. There's an early Japanese ROM and a later Japanese ROM, and then the international version.
And to be clear, we're talking about the original like Donkey Kong arcade game that's available on Switch.
Arcade Archives Donkey Kong. And it's actually the first time Nintendo's released the original arcade Donkey Kong, and I guess because there was some legal troubles over who actually owned the code, because back in 1981, Nintendo didn't have video game developers, and they just pretty much threw Miyamoto with like a shadow team who developed it under the agreement that they would be the only ones to produce the boards for the game, and then later on a court ruled, I read a whole thing about it, a court ruled that that also meant that they owned the copyright for the game
What the
code
fuck?
itself.
How did it end up in Donkey Kong 64 then?
Apparently, Rare reprogrammed that whole thing themselves, so it's not like an arcade perfect version.
So when they own the copyright in the ROM, they don't own the copyright of like any other aspect of it.
Yeah,
I wonder what that means. Like, I mean, of course, we're talking like in the 80s, where like this stuff. I mean, this was like cutting edge law. I mean, this was not.
Yeah.
They know what the fuck a video game was. Because, I mean, there's also... I mean, it's not... Obviously, it's not the original Donkey Kong, but in Donkey Kong 94 on the Game Boy, those levels are, reimagined.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo released the game on NES and everything.
Right.
Like, I guess...
Well, didn't the NES one only have 3 of the 4 levels?
Yeah, but that's because the NES hardware is shit, and that's before they were like putting special chips in the cartridges and stuff. So it like couldn't even handle the Cement Factory level or Pie Factory if you're an idiot and think that there's pies.
If you're an idiot,
if you think there's pies on a construction building, whatever.
Only idiots eat pies
that are going into an oil barrel.
Maybe they were bad pies. Like
no, it's cement. They're building a skyscraper.
I don't know if there's any such thing as a bad pie.
Like anything with too much rhubarb.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. Like just like rhubarb by itself.
Yeah,
but I've never had like a rhubarb pie by itself. It's like rhubarb or like strawberry. Or something.
I've had a strawberry rhubarb pie with too much rhubarb. That was
pies are fucking good as hell.
Rhubarb's dumb. I don't know why people are even.
It's bitter, gross celery. That's what that is.
Yeah, like get that. Just give me a fucking strawberry pie.
Yeah.
Anyways, obviously Nintendo did something recently because they're now releasing the original arcade ROM. So they probably reached an agreement with this company. I can't remember what the company's name was, but
that's kind of a dumb, fucked up ruling.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently I think it got them in trouble for Donkey Kong Jr. almost as well because they pretty much like reverse engineered the Donkey Kong arcade boards to make that game. Nintendo did. Anyways, you could read about it. I'll post a link on the Twitter where you could read about it. It's an interesting read. So this is the first time Nintendo's released Donkey Kong Arcade proper. There's a high score mode. Like in the normal, like you could just play the like arcade ROMs normally, but you could like use save states and shit, so the high scores are meaningless. But there's a specific high score mode where you can't pause or anything. And in the Japanese version, I currently am the 24th ranking person in the world on those leaderboards, and on the in the US version, which is way harder because the levels like come out all differently and crazily. I'm 53rd, I think. So I've been doing pretty good at Donkey Kong. I did watch I watched a YouTube video by Hank Chen, I think is the name, and he held the Donkey Kong world record at one point, and he was playing the arcade while like just giving like really basic rundown on like some simple strategies, and that like improved my game immensely. So thank you, Hank.
Thanks, Hank.
I feel like the game's like a perfect high score type of video game. Like I've never like really delved into Donkey Kong like all that much before, but there's like this amount of skill to the RNG is like this perfect mix where like you could try to influence the board in different ways and do different stuff to make your way through the levels, but like if shit goes awry or stuff doesn't plan out as you want, like you just gotta like use pure goddamn skill to make your way through stuff. But then also every once in a while Donkey Kong will whip a barrel at you at a 45-degree angle that just goes through all the platforms and hits you in the face because he's an asshole. So but no, I love
copyright this bitch.
Donkey Kong. Basically, man. Beat my Donkey Kong score. Challenge me in Donkey Kong.
That's really cool, though. Congratulations on ranking so highly.
Thank you. It feels meaningless.
Just like the rest of your empty, lonely life.
Oh my god. That's it for video games.
Oh, actually, I had been playing another game. That was a really good segue, but then I forgot. Okay. I've also been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins, and I talked about this, I think, last episode. But it feels weird to say that I like this game and I got to hammer that point after just basically using Assassin's Creed as a punching bag for a fucking decade. You know, I have to own up to it and just say that I really like Assassin's Creed Origins. It's mainly because it's more of an RPG, and they switched to combat. Like all the combat, like older Assassin's Creed games, are all like animation based,
right?
You know, based on timing and animations. Now it's just all hitboxes, so just swing wildly and fuck someone up. Like, I mean, that's it's lost all of the elegance, but gained all of the playability. You know, in return.
Speaking of playability, like, do you just like try to turn around on a roof and still run and jump off the edge? That
does actually happen. That does happen from time to time. Yeah, but I would say that these are the most polished version of Assassin's Creed shit controls that I've ever played.
Nice.
I think maybe twice I've leapt off dramatically off a structure that really shouldn't. It was way too high for me to leap off of. Yeah, those controls, those climate controls can still be kind of bumbly, but I feel like they've been simplified and simplified from the player's end, but also sort of strengthened on the system's end. They can still be fiddly. They can still it's still gonna do things that you did not tell it to do, but that happens far less often.
Because I've only played Assassin's Creed 1 and 3. And 1's terrible. Like,
1
controls
sucks.
go. 1 sucks in a lot of ways.
I was so into that game when it came out. Because, I mean, the 7th generation, you can rag on it for homogenizing a lot of stuff in video games. But there was a lot of, like, new AAA stuff. And Assassin's Creed, you know, was annualized after a while, but that was a brand new game that came out in the 7th generation. Mass Effect was a brand new game that came out. You know, these games that had a number of sequels and re-releases, those are brand new. So I was totally on board with that. And then I fucking hated it.
Yeah, it was... I was super hyped for it, too, because I was like... I love the Prince of Persia games that Ubisoft had been putting out. So I was like, all right, well, this is Prince of Persia people, right? They're making like a big open-world Prince of Persia. And I was like, fuck, I can't do anything in this game without somebody screaming at me and chasing me.
You just ride your horse and someone yells at you, my dude, I'm just riding a horse.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, well, climbing, all I do is hold up. This isn't very exciting. Oh, I can't run around up here because the animation is, like, clunky, and then I'm fucking jumping off roofs. I didn't want to do that. I got to climb all the way back up. There's a Templar. I got to fucking... And then I was like, nah, this game sucks.
It does suck, yeah. No.
And then I played 3, and that game was just boring, too.
You could say that in some ways... Some elements of this have been dumbed down in Origins. You know, that animation-based combat that was built around in the original Assassin's Creed games took more patience, and I guess you could argue more skill, but at the cost of just, in my opinion, being fucking boring. Mm-hmm. This is just, you know, it's more like Zelda. Just run around and just swing your sword around, my dude. Like, that's fine. You'll hit something. But to me, it's just far more playable, far more enjoyable in that way.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed battle was just like well, I guess it started it, but like the Batman Arkham games just did the same battle system way better and like faster
and smoother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so yeah, ditch that shit.
Yeah. No, it's way better. I like exploring. Like this is one time where I will say I'm not a graphics guy. I know that, you know, good graphics look good. I'm not going to say that they don't. I'm not going to say graphics don't matter, because they do. But this is one time where I'll say graphics make a huge difference. When you climb to the top of a structure and you look around and you can oversee all of Alexandria and then look out and see all these merchant ships sailing around in the Mediterranean, and just the draw distance is phenomenal. And it really draws you into that game. Like, it looks crazy. It looks really good. And it's so big though. This is such, I mean, it's like the whole northern part of like fucking Africa. And it's just and to their credit, there's a lot of densely populated areas where there's a lot of stuff to do and little cities and stuff. But then there's just fucking nothing. It's just fucking desert, my dude. Like, there's nothing. And even that can be interesting because the stuff they use for like mirages, where you'll see like these I don't know, like star shines across the sand, and like the rocks will start to shimmer. And sometimes you'll see people walking around that are not fucking there. Like, that got me one time. I was like, what the fuck is this? You'll hear people, like, yelling that aren't there. That's pretty good. But, yeah, you're just riding your horse through fucking nothing. There's nothing going on.
Last time I was impressed by big, vast amounts of nothing was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Because, like, I remember going out in the deserts in that game, and I was like, man, this is just desert goes on forever. I'm sure it's, like, tiny compared to anything
absolutely
going on in this game. But, like, back in the day, I was like, man, look at all this nothing that they put in. This is impressive. But I don't know how I'd feel about a whole lot of nothing.
Well, you don't really have to engage. There's a ton of side quests. There's a ton of side stuff. And you can. Sometimes I choose to. Sometimes I choose to engage with it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I ignore stuff. I'm not a completionist. There'd be no way that you can complete it because there's like random boss battles that pop up. There's like glitches in the Animus or whatever, and like giant Egyptian gods will like fuck you up.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not a high enough level to take those things on yet. I'm not. I don't need a game to last forever for me. So sometimes if a side quest seems interesting, I'll go with it. And some of these aren't always. I mean, they usually involve combat in some way because that's how you interact with this world, is cutting things up. But you're like almost like a police constable. Like you're what's called a magi. I guess they were real things, and people come to you with their problems. And sometimes that means you track down some woman's son. You have to go to like this place where he was last seen and do an investigation to find him. So it's kind of neat, like interacting with the world like that. And the main character seems kind of cool. Like he's a person of color. One of my oh man, the animation on his smile. He's got this shit-eating grin. He's got this scraggly-ass beard. And when he smiles, he's got this big, toothy, shit-eating grin. And it is sincerely one of the best animations I've ever seen. He's just a cool dude. I like the main character. I like this game. I like this game a lot.
Nice. And it only took 25 Assassin's Creed games before you liked one.
Before I liked one, yeah. It's actually, I mean, it's got me interested in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is the next one coming out later this year. Not at launch. These games drop in price so quickly, and then they have so many add-ons to sort of recapture that value. So I'm definitely not buying it at launch, but I will be buying it at some point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain companies that I'm just like, I'll wait for the complete edition that'll come a year after the fucking regular one.
Yeah, I don't think they do the complete.
At half the price.
I mean, I think with something like Assassin's Creed, I don't think they've ever done that, and I don't think they're going to do that here because it regularly goes on sale. Like even on PSN, you can get it for $20-$30. But then there's all like there's all like the expansion, like season pass content, and that's where they sort of like. They hook you in with the main game, which is there's a lot of shit happening in that game. I don't feel the need to buy any of that extra stuff because this game is so fucking big on its own. But that's how they get that value, and they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna repackage the game with those add-ons
until next generation.
That's a fair point. Yeah, maybe.
It'll happen. It'll happen at some point.
But that's why I really wanted to say that I am enjoying that game.
Man, Craig,
I'm selling out. I don't know.
No, I've just pulled up on Amazon.com Assassin's Creed Origins Deluxe Edition.
No, well, that came out at launch. So there's so if you look up Odyssey, there's like Assassin's Creed Odyssey has like 8 different fucking configurations. It's impossible to figure out what one you want because they all come with different shit.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, no, the deluxe edition was at launch, I think. I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
It's probably like season pass or something like that.
Then I will forgive you. Yeah, it's probably just that. All right.
Is that all we got for this? I mean, that's an hour and 18 minutes.
I mean, yeah, we talked like longer than we had any right to.
Yeah, I'm surprised people are still listening. We dunk on ourselves so much, but people actually like this show, so I don't know why we do that. We know that people legitimately like us. I don't know why we dunk on ourselves all the time.
And I feel like they're faking it. They're just like trying to build us up and just waiting for the exact perfect moment to just crush our self-esteem completely.
That's how I feel about everything I make.
Once I start like actually believing that people will listen to and like this episode, this podcast, I'm like, yeah, people like us, then that's immediately
then you're cured and you don't need a therapist anymore.
No, then we're going to get hate threats and everybody's going to be telling us how terrible we are and stuff like that. And then I'll be like, see, I should have never been happy. That's what happens when you're happy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just want to take it away from you. Are you scratching your beard right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why do you grow a beard if you're not going to like play with it? Like it's luxurious. That's what you
I just got like this little like shaggy like beard going on, like a little 1960s hippie beard. So I don't know. I can't like grow. I just grow like pubic hair on my cheeks. It doesn't. It's like not full. It's just like all sparse and.
That's how mine used to be, but I don't know what changed. I mean, I've had a beard for a while now, but before I grew my beard, I couldn't grow a beard. It was just puny, sparse, gross hair. Yeah.
That's what I got going on right now because I haven't shaved in like 3 weeks. But it's like it's nothing to write home about. It's not impressive. In fact, I'm sure it looks very bad.
Yeah, but beards are like super in. I mean, it's no beard is impressive because everybody has a beard. You know what I mean? Like if everybody has a Lamborghini, are Lamborghinis really that impressive?
I don't know. I feel like they're not that impressive anyway. But
I just pulled something out of my ass.
I get you, and everybody does have a beard right now. But I've been rocking mine. Like, yeah, the only place that my beard grows in is right on my chin.
So you can have like a goatee?
Yeah. But I'm not going to do the whole connected mustache all the way down. That just looks dumb. I'm not a villain. I'm not a villain or a 1990s baseball player, Craig.
Fair enough. I think we're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. I think this is the end of the episode.
Want to talk about burritos for an hour?
No, this is not Giant Bomb.
All right. Well, let's just kill this thing then.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening. You can find us. I don't know how to do the outro. I always forget how to do outros. So many words. You can find us on SoundCloud. With soundcloud.com/Ludowave Radio.
That's it.
That's it right there. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Google Play. Please review us. This was not a great episode. Please don't review us based on this episode. We would greatly appreciate it. Our theme song was composed exclusively for us by Morning, Moon, and Mercury. You can find more of his stuff on morningmoonandmercury.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Ludowave Radio on both. You can find me, Craig, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV and Lust. And Seth, where can people find you?
I thought this was a very good episode, and you could find me on Twitter at Seth Gastelum.
I thought it was a good episode, too, until we started talking about your puby beard.
No, I feel that's what elevated it up to the next
an
level.
art form.
We were at mediocre. I brought us to fucking stupendous.
That's true. That's, yeah. The Pew Beard Champ.
Yes. I'm going to switch my name to that on the leaderboards.
All right, we're out.
Bye.